let's be honest, there was good and there was bad from every era of Star Wars post-original trilogy. Some would even argue original trilogy had Return of the Jedi. I would not be one of those people.
We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on.
Rumor has it that the one and only George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, would return to the Star Wars franchise to make more movies, but only if he has full control. And here are the details. It was reported this weekend that George Lucas himself would return to work on Star Wars if Disney gave him the green light to do so, and only if Disney said that Lucas would have full creative control over the films. Disney and the rest of the fandom is well aware of the fact that Lucas took issue with Star Wars films that Disney has released since the company acquired Lucasfilm. And Lucas isn't alone in his disapproval. With the Disney Star Wars, there's plenty of fans who think the franchise pre-acquisition was much better. According to some sources, it looks like Disney and Lucas are willing to set aside their differences to make movie magic happen, or at least to let Lucas make movie magic happen. A rumor also has it that Lucas wants Dave Filoni, the guy behind Star Wars, The Clone Wars, more on that tonight, and Rebels, to be right beside him to help turn things around. So there's no real confirmation from Disney and Lucasfilm, nor have Lucas and Filoni spoken publicly about the matter, but we'll let you know when more information is reported. So let's play in a world, Mecca, where, this is happening. This seems like the most useless thing ever. Now, I'm not here to rip on George Lucas and some of his shortcomings. Why would you sell Star Wars only to then make a movie? Only if I have full creative control. Dude, you had full creative control all these years. Why'd you give it up?
Exactly. I think it's because he didn't want to do it anymore, right? He just got tired of not being able to satisfy everybody, right?
He has, I guess maybe he also has like seller's remorse.
Yeah, it's like you missed the old car that you used to drive that you sold 10 years ago. Yeah.
Or, your old wife is, happily remarried with another husband and you're just like, shit. Why did I screw that up?
Yeah. And I can't see him actually fixing anything. I mean, Dave Filoni's probably a great choice, but George Lucas gave us the prequels. I mean, he had creative control completely, and what did he do with it?
Well, Lucas himself, I mean, look, it's easy to go back and say, oh, everything under the George Lucas era was perfect, or oh, everything was shit. Let's be honest, there was good and there was bad from every era of Star Wars post-original trilogy. Some would even argue original trilogy had Return of the Jedi. I would not be one of those people to, rip on Return of the Jedi. It's much better than people give it credit for. So,
I like Return of the Jedi. I mean, episode 1. I can't get past episode 1 sometimes.
Well, last night Jesse and I tried to watch episode 2.
Oh yeah, I fell asleep during that one. That's where they really lost me.
Well, okay, so looking back, I remember seeing episode 1, not being a fan. Episode 2, I liked it enough, but I never watched it again. And then 3, he did it right. So the thing is, when I read something like this, I know George Lucas still has it in him to tell a good story. I think when he knows, like, unlike the Disney the Disney sequel trilogy that had no pre-existing story, they just made it up as they went, Lucas knew where he wanted to go with the prequels. Now, episode 1, he knew he wanted to find Anakin and set up certain things, and then 3, he knew he had to become Darth Vader. So you're left with this middle act that doesn't really have too terribly much to do or say. Mm-hmm. It sets up the clones, and that's it. There's a lot of useless filler in episode 2. So, folks in the chat, you can tell me what you guys think of episode 2. Some people say it's their favorite film. You could come to me and say The Last Jedi is your favorite Star Wars film. I still would like to hear the arguments. So, I mean, don't be embarrassed.
It's got some interesting things that they've added in episode 2, but I just have such a hard time staying awake during it because it's very long and drawn out. I think a lot of the scenes for me anyway kind of just stand still and they go on too long, and there's a lot of like very samey sort of stuff on screen. But I can see, like, if you really liked the cloning facility, and I hear that all the time, that people really love like the cloning facility and the weird aliens, and it's it's very different. I can get that, but I don't know, for me, I just fall asleep.
Yeah, okay, so we're looking at this with if Dave Filoni came in with George Lucas. Now, we'll talk about Clone Wars. There was that new trailer. There's all kinds of stuff. But, like, looking at this, if this was to be real, would Dave Filoni fall under the yes man category that George Lucas had prior to selling, because back in the day he had Gary Kurtz who told him, this works, George, this doesn't work. You had directors that were real directors that challenged George Lucas, like Irvin Kershner. Mm-hmm. And then you had the prequels, which were George Lucas's full creative control on screen. I mean, yes, it would look good on paper to say, hey, we have George Lucas making another Star Wars movie. Awesome. But then how do the fans benefit from this? Do the fans benefit better from that reality, or is it better if we take a break from Star Wars, or if we can go back in time and make it to where Lucas never sold it to Disney in the first place? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence on that one. I don't think it's going to be like the game changer. Let's say they brought him back tomorrow and they announced a new trilogy with George Lucas in charge. I still don't think they would be that great of movies.
Well, I don't either, and you definitely wouldn't have anything to build from the previous movies. You have to start over.
Exactly, and I think hopefully Dave Filoni, if Dave Filoni were involved, hopefully he would not just be a yes man. Because George Lucas, I don't think, needs another yes man. I think he needs somebody to tell him, no, this is not going to work. It's kind of like Kathleen Kennedy. You need somebody to tell her, more what to do. You can't leave her in charge.
The previous highlight was brought to you by your friends at the High Council and their guests. If you liked what you heard here, I encourage you to subscribe to all of their channels, which are linked in the description below. Also, subscribe to popculturepb so that you never miss a High Council highlight.